The Golden Globes are this Sunday. Joe Fryer has a preview.
Allison, they call it Hollywood's biggest party. It's the Fun Award show, the one where anything can happen. So what should you look for on Sunday? First and foremost, keep an eye on the host, Ricky Gervais, back for the fifth and apparently final time, the first time in a few years. The climate is a little different now. He says there's pressure, but that doesn't mean he's going to water it down or back down in any way. This year, he'll be speaking to an audience overflowing with stars. Lots of A-listers scored nominations, like Jennifer Lopez, a nominee for her role in Hustlers. Many experts say she has a good shot of winning the supporting actress trophy. Eddie Murphy, who's on fire right now, especially after hosting SNL, he's nominated for his role in Dolomite Is My Name. Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt will both vie for trophies. So will Jennifer Aniston, a nominee for Apple's The Morning Show. She's looking to win her first Golden Globe since 2003, when she took home a trophy for Friends. Even Taylor Swift earned a nom this year for writing a new song in the movie version of Cats. Now, we know Tom Hanks will take home an award. He's getting the Cecil B. DeMille Award, which is like a lifetime achievement honor, and Ellen DeGeneres is receiving the Carol Burnett Award for her contributions to television. That award just debuted last year, and the first honoree was, of course, Carol Burnett. So how about Best Picture? Remember, in the Globes, movies are divided into drama and comedy. On the drama side, The Irishman is a top contender, along with Joker and Marriage Story. As for comedies, well, the nominees are not exactly the funniest affair, but odds are good Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will win. Noticeably absent from the nominee list, any female directors. All the nominees for Best Director are men, which has been the subject of much criticism, especially when you consider that only 5 women have ever been nominated in the category in the history of the Globes, and only 1 has ever won. That was Barbra Streisand back in the 80s. Now, on the TV side, the broadcast networks were totally shut out for the first time ever this year. That means cable dramas like HBO's Succession will compete against streaming shows like The Crown on Netflix. By the way, Meryl Streep, a 32-time nominee, she looks to break another record by scoring her 9th Globes win on top of the DeMille Award she received in 2017. Finally, even The Meal is making headlines this year. For the first time, it'll be all vegan. The show says they want to raise awareness about sustainability. Of course, the alcohol will still be flowing, which is what sets the Globes apart from many other award shows and leads to some of those more unpredictable moments.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.